I'll call to order the meeting of the Monroe County Solid Waste Management District for December 10th, 2020. And welcome, everybody. We have a quorum, but we do need an official roll call. Mr. McGlasson, would you do that, please?
Munson.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Githens.
Here.
Hamilton.
Here.
Piedmont Smith.
Here.
Jones. Swafford.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, everyone. I don't want to comment about the length of our agenda today, because that means if I say it's a short one, that means the meeting will run long. So let's just jump into it and begin with our first order of business, which is executive committee meeting minutes, which are enclosed for your information. These are from November 2nd. Then we have action on the board of director minutes for November. Ms. Piedmont Smith, would you offer us a motion?
Yes, I move approval of the minutes of the Board of Directors meeting of November 12th, 2020.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please note that Commissioner Jones has joined us, so we have a full complement of directors today. Does anybody have comments or questions on the November meeting minutes? Seeing none, let's proceed to a vote. Mr. McGlasson?
Hamilton.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Githens.
Yes.
Swafford.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Munson.
Yes.
Piedmont Smith.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Let's move right on to the controller's report and to hear about cash flow from Ms. Hudson.
Okay, today we have operating balance of $2,046,015.72. Our closure bond debt is at $13,408.32. Our capital is at $45,413.60, and our land bill post closure is at $763,898.78.
Thank you. Board members, do you have any questions or comments for Ms. Hudson? I am seeing none. So let us move then to claims, and Ms. Hudson, would you like to present the claims, and then I'll ask Ms. Piedmont Smith for a motion.
Okay. The following claims have been examined and are in order of pre-approved claims at $123,848.99. Today, I'm asking approval at $45,102.24 for a total of $168,951.23.
Thank you. Ms. Piedmont Smith, can you offer a motion to that?
Yes, I move that payroll and claims as presented in the packet plus what was sent via email yesterday be approved.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a second by Ms. Githens. Any questions or comments about these claims?
I have one.
Ms. Piedmont Smith, please.
Yes, I was just curious about the payments to Harris Computers. It's on a claims docket that's on page 17, line item 7, for over $5,000. So Harris Computers, it sounds like a shop that sells and services computers, and here this is for financial support. So could someone explain that for me, please?
Yes, Harris Computers is our package that we use for payroll, accounts payable, and our receipting programs. so that this is their support. Anytime I have an issue, I call them. They have an offsite vault that they do our backups and everything. So they're our county program system.
Okay, so
So,
it's kind of misnamed. I mean, it's kind of misleading with the name. So this
right,
is actually, is it a software package and
it
support?
is.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is something that those of us with the county are familiar with because county government used to have this package that they use, software package.
Yes.
And you'll be glad that the city does it. It doesn't allow you to get the kind of reports that you would necessarily want. It provides custom reports that standard reports that they design, but you can't create your own reports.
I see.
So
Well, I had one other question, if I may.
please do.
So this one is on page 26, line item 1, activate healthcare. I see it's an advance payment for January through March. Have we always paid in advance for this is for the clinic, right?
Yeah, this is the fee. It's an annual fee. We make quarterly payment installments on that gives our employees access to the clinic. And yeah, we generally do pay that in advance of the quarter that it's due on.
Okay, I just hadn't noticed that before.
Thank you.
And I think that's it for me.
Thank you. Any other questions? Let's move to our vote, please. Mr. McGlasson?
Piedmont Smith,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Munson,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Swafford,
Yes.
Githens.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I want to apologize. I forgot to check on public comment there. And we do have some members of the public in our Zoom meeting. So I will try to make sure we take care of this for the next business items. Sorry.
Just a quick point of clarification that they are members of the public. They both are also members of our Citizens Advisory Committee.
We're very glad to have them. So our next item of business is our 2021 meeting schedule for the board. Mr. McGlasson, would you like to present, please?
Yeah, this is in there. Historically, the board only establishes a meeting schedule that goes through December of the current year. So at the very least, if the board wishes to meet in January, we do need to schedule that meeting. I think in recent years, that is what we have done, and December is scheduled the January meeting. And then at the January meeting, once we are sure of who the board members will be, since we do have representatives of bodies that do have the option to make a change on an annual basis, we set the schedule for the remainder of the year. But if the board wishes, they certainly have the discretion to go ahead and set the full calendar schedule today, if you like.
Okay. I will comment that members who may change next year would be the city council representative, which we hope will continue, and the county council representative, which is myself. I hope I might continue as well, but we don't know. These are decisions of our governing bodies. And Mr. Swafford is an appointment by the commissioners, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the pleasure of the board here? Ms. Piedmont Smith?
I suggest that we only set the January meeting date and then address the rest of the calendar after the new board has been configured.
That sounds fine.
And so normally it would be January 14th, which would be fine
Correct.
with me if I'm still the rep. I don't know.
I think a simple motion to propose a date and time. And then, of course, a second, any necessary discussion would be
Right.
all it would take to set that.
Okay. Do you want to turn that into a motion, Ms. Piedmont Smith?
Sure. I move that we schedule the first Board of Director meeting for 2021 on January 14th at 4 o'clock.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion from the board? I see no comments. We can also hear from the public on this. Any members of the public attending, use the raise hand symbol in the participants menu. And I see none. We'll proceed to a vote. Mr. McGlasson.
Swafford,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yep. Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Githens,
Yes.
Piedmont Smith,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Munson.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Let's turn now to annual appointments to the Citizens Advisory Committee for 2021. Mr. McGlasson, would you present this, please?
Yeah, this an annual housekeeping measure, the resolution 90-1 that established the Citizens Advisory Committee does set those terms to expire December the 31st of every year. So the CAC membership does need to be reappointed on an annual basis. I've emailed the CAC membership and was at their rescheduled meeting earlier this month. And had no current members express a desire to not serve in 2021. So you have a list of the current membership we're seeking reappointment for in the memo. Attached to the memo also is the formal list of the CAC membership for 2020, listing the officers. Of course, they would have the opportunity to change officers at their meeting in January. So we're looking for a motion, to reappoint the CAC membership.
I move to reappoint the existing CAC members to the Citizens Advisory Committee.
Thank
Second.
you. We have a motion and a second. For the benefit of the public, I would like their names to be read. Mr. McGlasson, would you read their names, please?
Sure. John Arnold, Ryan Conway, Rondi Cox, Lily Kleinlein, Lauren Cott, Andrew Manley, Nelson Schaefer, Paul White Sr., and Joseph Winia.
Thank you. And thank you to each of the CAC members for your interest in continuing. So, comments or questions from board members? Is there any public comment? Please use the raise hand symbol. Seeing none. No comment at all. We're just all happy to have these members return. Mr. McGlasson, would you help us with the vote, please?
Jones,
Yes.
Piedmont Smith,
Yes.
Githens,
Sorry, yes.
Munson,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Swafford.
Yes.
Motion passes.
So thank you, CAC members. We're glad to have you back. Our next item of business is discussion about something that's very important for us, and that's our solid waste management plan. And Mr. McGlasson has put quite a bit of information into the packet, but I would like him to summarize ideas about how we want to deal with this plan and what sort of timeline we should be discussing. So, Mr. McGlasson, please.
Sure. Well, I guess I would, without setting a specific timeline or end date goal in mind, I would point out, reference the process that's in the statute that's included in your board packet. There's a public meeting, public hearing requirement on this, and so this is not by statute, this is not a quick process, and probably rightfully so. This is something we should certainly have public input on and take some time and do it right. We don't want to be in a situation where we come back a year later and have to continually make updates to the plan. And so I kind of view us at the beginning stages of putting this together. Obviously, this was something we all saw as a need as we went through the process with the proposed Rumpke facility and the challenges we faced dealing with a plan that was almost it was 25 years old or more. So updating the plan is something that we need to get done, but it is something we want to look at carefully and put together the right plan, not just for the district, but for the community as a whole as we move forward. My thoughts on it as we get into this and begin discussing it would be to look at right now, is look at it in broad general terms. I think we need to kind of lay out what are, and this is similar, I guess a similar guideline that I gave to the CAC when they asked about, what would their steps be, what should their process, their input be, kind of think about, what direction do we want waste management in Monroe County to go, and what would be some broad and general goals and objectives, and we can take those and put together an outline or a draft of a plan, and then once we have that, we can start looking at getting into some more detail and setting some more specific goals and objectives that might be based on identified needs, or specific goals or things that we want to accomplish in a specific timeline.
So I thought the essential elements that you put in the packet were very important for us to look through.
Yeah, and thanks to Ms. Piedmont Smith for summarizing that statute for us like that. And I think it's a very helpful document.
So you
and as you can see, see in there are, some things that just have to be done that don't really require, I guess they are, a demographic study is what it is. The solid waste generation data and how that might project out based on projections of the demographic study. That we just need to do that, and those are just going to kind of be what they are as we crunch numbers. The inventory of the facilities, that is what it is. We do have a proposed facility out there that in the next 2 to 3 years may or may not come to fruition, but obviously if we put this together and a new facility pops up, we would just amend the plan to account for that new facility.
So luckily we have some data that is only about 2 years old. Is that correct? From the solid waste study that we.
Yeah, little more than that now, but yeah, that's the Kessler's, the I guess we had the first Kessler study that was done that they did the waste audit in, has some really good data that we could use as a part of this. And then we also had the second study they did more specific to organic waste. That should also have some good information that could be used in putting this plan together.
So, Ms. Piedmont Smith.
Yeah, in reviewing the statute and making the summary, it seems like the most challenging part might be to establish our goals and objectives. You know, what reduction in solid waste can we aim towards and reasonably hope to achieve? I think that's a big question. And Tom, at our executive committee meeting, we had mentioned maybe involving a SPIA class to help us with some of this, crunch some data and make some projections. Have anybody
I
on the
did.
executive committee or Tom reached out to anybody at SPIA?
I have actually had emails with a couple of different professors at SPIA, and it is something that they yes, they would potentially have an interest in doing that. A capstone was programmed that has a couple of emails with the coordinator for that program, and unfortunately, she said she thought it would be a good fit for a capstone project, but their earliest availability is spring of 22.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily preclude involving SPIA in this, but obviously that would impact our timeline if that's what we wanted to do.
Right. And independent of Tom, I reached out to my SPIA contacts and ended up with the same person that he discussed this with. And so very definitely it is 2022.
Yeah,
Ms. Thomas?
Yeah, and even if they start in January of 2022, that means we probably wouldn't be at the point of approving it or passing it till the fall of
Right.
2022. So I mean, that's too far off. I think it's a nice idea, but it seems to me that we probably all have ideas about goals and objectives and priorities, and if we had some just time to put ideas together and then talk about them at a meeting, I think that would work. I don't want to hire a consultant to do this. This is
I don't either.
especially because we have data that's, I think, recent enough to use, and then we have our current data that we get out of the rural sites. So I just I guess I just see this as it's a good time to collaborate together and come up with our what we think the priorities should be in the near future. It doesn't mean they have to happen or that they can happen financially, but I think we could all work together on that.
Thank you. Ms. Piedmont Smith?
Yeah, I agree that this would be a good topic for a work session of some sort, and maybe using the Zoom whiteboard to take some notes and this kind of brainstorm of ideas for the plan, but also where to get how to crunch some numbers to get at the goals that we want to put in there.
I might offer, it sounds like this potentially could be a good opportunity for the first joint meeting with the CAC for 2021. So I could certainly reach out to them and check interest and availability for scheduling a joint meeting in January or early February.
So Mr. McGlasson, one idea that I have is I think it would be helpful for board members and CAC members to look at other solid waste management plans for the state of Indiana. Um, Could you arrange to get these and put links on the website for us?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I have a copy of Bartholomew County and Jackson County.
Mhm.
I have those two now, but I can certainly reach out to some other districts and see what they might be willing to share with us.
Good. Good. Mr. Hamilton?
Thanks. I think that's a great idea, Ms. Munson. And I might suggest reaching directly to IDEM to ask if they have a view of who's got some of the best, that if
That's a
they
good idea.
monitor that. I will confess, I opened the 437-page document or whatever that it was and didn't make it more than 1% of the way through, probably. But even in that 1%, it was fun to see some old names from IDEM, but both of whom are gone, I think. But I also did note that way back then, there was a suggestion from our district that we would update it annually. There are, of course, 5-year increments in the plan. Do you know, in the archives, were there any updates of that 1992 plan made?
To my knowledge, there were not. Mr. Morgan has been here longer than I have. He may have some insight into that, but not to my knowledge.
The only thing that I can add is that there has been, to my knowledge, no additions to the plan. So once it expired, it expired.
It expired, meaning it's a 20-year window or something. Is that right? And then
Yes, it is.
And then beyond that, it was darkness. We didn't know what was coming. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I remember this actually when Governor Bai pushed hard, and then Bart Peterson and others that introduced the concept of the districts, and the legislature passed it and requiring these plans. But I am a little surprised that there weren't some communications anyway. But I think it's a good thing to do. Finding if there are some that have updated them and that IDEM believes are good examples, I think could be very helpful to us. So
Yes,
I'll
it is.
second Ms. Munson's recommendation on that.
So good. So related to this, I have a question about our website. And I know that it's had some challenges. Mr. McGlasson, can you give us an update?
Well, as far as the ability to post board packets, agendas, and so forth on the website, we did come up with a workaround on that. The district has set up a Dropbox account, and we are able to post links off of our website to the various documents on that Dropbox account.
Okay.
So that's how we've been able to get the ones that we weren't able to previously upload on the website and continue to keep those current moving forward. So, and I do have a proposal from our current website developer on redoing our website, and a little bit more pricey than I was anticipating. And so he and I are going back and forth on that to see what we can do to bring that price down, or if we need to look at other options for that service, and maybe there's financially a better option for us. But website update is ongoing, and we're continuing to figure out how to do that.
Okay. Other questions or comments from board members? Is there any public comment about this? Well, let us move on then to.
Mr. Winia has his hand up.
Oh, good, you saw that. I missed it. Mr. Winia, please, let's hear from you.
Yes, I do just want to mention that I agree with Isabel's suggestion to make it a group work session with the CAC. I have already been doing a little bit of digging and have information I'd be happy to share and to participate in the process as well as the board discusses. So thank you.
Thank you. So if there's no other consideration for our work ahead on this plan, let's move to department report.
I guess instead of highlighting things out of my written report, which that's in there, you can certainly happy to take questions. One thing that didn't make it in there that I wanted to bring to the board's attention is the Environmental Protection Agency has put out a draft national recycling strategy plan and taken comments on that. The comment period did close last Friday, the 4th, but it is a document that the Association of Solid Waste Management Districts got a hold of, and the board reviewed, and the association did get comments on the draft plan submitted to the EPA within the deadline. Again, it's a draft document. They've identified 3 objectives for the strategy: to reduce contamination in the recycling stream, to increase processing efficiency, and to improve markets, which the association felt were good goals, goals that would be reasonable to try to at least improve those areas. And we thought the plan, it's a good plan. The EPA already has a significant amount of data available to them, most of which is also publicly available on their website, to justify the need for the plan and to help steer the direction of such a strategy. So nice to see an effort like that being made at the federal level, and nice to see them also recognize the importance, or the potential significance of contributions to such a plan at the state and local level as well.
So thank you. So do we have other reports?
Ms. Munson?
Ms. Piedmont Smith has her hand
I
up.
had
I'm
a-
sorry, I couldn't see your hand.
I had a couple of questions. Yeah, it's a white hand against a snowy background, so
Right.
that's all right. I just wondered I know there was some confusion about paying for the carnations for the America Recycles Day. How many carnations were purchased and given away? I assume they were all given away.
Well,
11 dozen.
11 dozen?
Yeah, we had 25 carnations per facility, 5 facilities, and then I think we wound up purchasing 130 just because of the way that the florist bundled them. So. And
what happened to the payment for that? I saw it on one of the.
Oh, well, yes, because
reports that it was.
The name of the florist used was very similar to the name of one of our employees. And so when the payment was initially processed, it got paid to the wrong person, but we caught that and got that check pulled out and voided off and got the payment reissued.
Okay, and that was for Mary M's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Way to go using a local florist. Good job. My other question was about the Green Business Series with the city's Economic and Sustainable Development Department. And there was that meeting with Avers Pizza and Green Camino on November 18th. I was just wondering, was it well attended? Was it mostly restaurant managers there, or who attended that? Or not specifically, but I'm wondering, who we're getting the word out to.
It was decently attended. I'm going to pull her report up. not as well attended, I think, as we would like. There was about 10 attendees. And she did not give me a list of the attendees. But yeah, there was 10 people in attendance. It's a little bit less than we would like, but my recollection in talking with Elise, unfortunately, I was not able to attend. I had a conflicting meeting at the same time. But that I think the presenter from Avers Pizza was the only restaurant listed or restaurant represented at the meeting. So, which, good and bad on that. Restaurants, obviously, composting would seem to be an ideal avenue for them, but also, nice to see that there are, non-food producing businesses out there that are interested in doing their own composting with, their employees that bring lunch in or what have you. So I think there's a pro and con to that breakdown of the attendees.
Yeah, I don't want to lose sight of our goal to increase composting and to have some more educational opportunities to get the word out. So I'm glad that Green Camino did that with Avers and the city, and let's look for other opportunities to really focus on restaurants and not putting their waste into the landfill.
Mhm. Other questions or comments on this?
So are we moving on to Scott Morgan's report?
That's Mr. McGlasson.
Yeah, I had nothing else to add. So.
Thank you. Let's have our next report, please.
All righty. In addition to the things that I have written in my report, I do want to mention that Daniel Brown has resigned. His effective date is January the 8th, so he will be with us a little bit longer. But the good news is we have interviewed and we have selected Joey Long to replace him. And Joey's an existing employee, and he will begin on January the 12th. Yes, thank you, Tom. So, and we did finally get the report for October's recycling and stuff from Republic. I got that the morning that the report was due to Tom, so I flew through it. I hope like heck it's right, but you have it before you, so everything is current, and we're doing a good job, I think.
So thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Just looking at the whole year of recycling tonnage, it looks like for books and mixed paper and white paper, it really goes up and down. Like some months, it's like for books, it was 4.38 tons in March, and then 0, and then 2. And is that just normal fluctuations, or is anything going on there?
Well, that's a function of when the trailer is pulled. Mm-hmm. So the trailer has to be pulled from our place to Indianapolis before we get credit for those materials.
And there's a number of different commodities that go into that trailer. So the makeup of what's in that trailer can vary from load to load, where might have more books in it this month, less books in it next month, but more of the mixed paper in it. So
there's some natural fluctuation in materials, most definitely.
Yeah, I was just surprised after the months that were 0, it didn't necessarily jump up the next month. So I guess it just depends on what people bring us.
Yes, it does.
And related to that, and I know I've asked this before, so I apologize in advance. In the bottom of your report, recycling tonnage by location, why are the trailer loads separate? They're all at South Walnut, right?
They are separate because we get a sheet of paper from them saying exactly what the trailer loads are. Then they are built in to the totals on the top. So they are counted in the top, in the totals, and then they're also separated out in the by location. It just gives more detail than probably what you're expecting.
Okay, but they are all at the main recycling center.
Yes, yes,
So we could just add those figures together to get the total for.
yes.
And the trailer loads are pulled by a different vendor than who pulls our compactor boxes. So they're reported
Okay.
to us separately.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Morgan? Seeing none, let's move to Mr. Paulson's report, please.
Yeah, good afternoon. The only thing I'd like to add, other than what's in my report, is that the November groundwater went off pretty well. We had some equipment issues, so we had to rent pump and equipment, stuff like that, but we got that taken care of. And all the samples and everything like that are all to the lab. Still waiting for the reports of that stuff to forward on to AECom for their statistical analysis stuff. So we're kind of waiting right now. I don't expect to get that back until with the holidays and stuff, the end of December to the first part of January. This was our long list, which means there's several hundred more parameters that we're testing for with each well that take a lot of different time, a lot of different tests that they've got to run with that water. So this is not uncommon. This is kind of typical. So right now I'm just kind of waiting for that to put that report together to get to AECom for them to do their analysis before I forward that stuff onto the state.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Paulson?
Well, you know I have one.
Okay, but that time your hand moved and I could see you.
Okay.
Ms. Piedmont Smith, please.
So I was just curious, there were 2 Adopt a Road cleanups, but there was 0 pounds of recycling collected?
Yeah, that was just,
all
those were
to
some,
Damaged or something?
well, I mean, a lot of times when, you know, those 2 road sections are way out in the county. And it's a lot of times that stuff is either so nasty because it's been chomped into the ground, or it's paper products that are really challenging. And it just is what it is sometimes. So we had several other Adopt a Road groups that had scheduled, but as the students went away and started to have those issues and the COVID issues and stuff like that, we had several groups cancel. Just like last minute say that, yeah, we're not going to get together. So there's not a whole lot we can do about that. So,
Right.
but
people have had cleanups and were able to socially distance, right?
yes, some of the smaller groups, you know, they get together, you know, some of the, like the Randy Jacobs family, it's just him and his family. So, you know, him and his wife or one of their kids get out and do what they do. And, you know, they're
Right.
already in the same household. So it wasn't like a combination of
Good.
multiple people from those kind of things. And, you know, and again, we want everybody to be safe. I don't want any issues with this or people, you know, getting weird with this. So we're trusting that people are doing the right thing to make themselves safe or where they feel comfortable. And we're just kind of going with the flow. This is a lot of uncharted territory for us, so we're just doing the best we can.
So thank you. Other questions for Mr. Paulson? Well, I have one, and that is, I'd like you to tell us more about the environmental compliance cases. Just give us some examples if you would, please.
Oh, this month, this past month, Mary Beth is, she's got some very interesting cases right now with some home properties that she's working pretty hard with, people from the state, people from the county, legal, trying to help these people or encourage them to clean up their stuff. We saw a little uptick in some roadside stuff, bags of trash, kind of things like that, that we just kind of document. We kind of notice them in some of the same areas. So I've looked like they are on like trash routes. So try to communicate with the right people to, hey, make sure your loads are covered when you guys are going to the transfer stations and those kind of things to try to reduce the stuff that we're picking up that's already been picked up by somebody else. So, but that's kind of an ongoing, never really going to change. You know, bag falls off the truck, it falls off the truck. So,
yeah.
But I mean, she's got some challenging cases right now that seem to be trying to communicate the best way with different people. Sometimes is not always very easy. And she's doing a very good job of different angles to try to help people realize what they need to get cleaned up. And but to the point that some of them we've had to include legal. So that's kind of where we're at, if that tells you.
So that's more information. Thank you.
Yep.
Anything further for Mr. Paulson? Okay, well, that brings us to the public comment section of the meeting. If there's any public comment. And I'm not seeing any hands raised. So let's move then to comments from directors. Anybody wish to speak? Well, this is our last meeting of the year, and this is a good time to just say thank you to you all for your service on the board, and thank you to our staff who has really taken on, I think, more challenges this year because of the pandemic and because of the need to be flexible and adapt our services to keep our staff healthy and to best serve the public. So thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
If there's nothing further, let's be adjourned, and we'll see you in January.